The idea, insight, or secret you need for massive impact is just moments away. It's time to claim your career crown. The podcast where business owners and entrepreneurs share the keys to the kingdom to help you open the vault to your greater success.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Petite to Queen's Claim Your Career Crown podcast. I'm your host, Lynn Whitbeck, the Joyful Sales Queen, and today I'm joined by our wonderful guest, Christine Fernandes. And we're going to be talking about what are practical steps to grow your business without burnout and actionable strategies which help you grow your business sustainably, put you on a path to achieve success without sacrificing your well-being. And if you get a ton of value out of this episode, I'd love to invite you to subscribe. And it doesn't cost anything to subscribe. So let me tell you about Christine. And Christine Fernandes is such a wonderful person that I've had the opportunity to get to know. She's the founder and CEO of Professional Women's Meetup, a thriving networking community dedicated to empowering women entrepreneurs through connection, collaboration, and growth. Now, with a background in corporate insurance and a bold transition into full-time entrepreneurship, Christine understands the challenges of building a business while maintaining balance. She coaches women to develop the mindset and strategies needed to scale their businesses with confidence. As the host of the Women Who Lead podcast, Christine spotlights powerhouse women who share their journeys, challenges, and breakthroughs. Christine is committed to helping women step into leadership and build businesses that align with their values and goals. Well, Christine, I couldn't be happier to have you here today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Lynn. That was a wonderful introduction, and it's just an honor to be here. And it's been great knowing you for the last couple of months now, learning so much from you with sales and everything. It's been great. And like I was saying earlier, the podcast episode we did together is going to be live today, so I'm really excited about that.
We got 2 lives in one day.
Yay.
Different types of lives. Yeah. So yeah. I'd love to really get into some of your background, even though I went through your bio. I mean, what really inspired you to get started on this path of creating this women's networking community?
Well, Lynn, my journey really started from a place that I'm sure many women can relate to and know all too well. And I was just feeling really stuck and unheard in the corporate world. And I spent years, I'd say probably around just over 10 years, climbing a ladder that really was not built for me. And I was constantly battling imposter syndrome and that nagging voice in my head that saying all kinds of things to me, all kinds of things. And you're not enough, or am I enough for this? And it was a lot. And, you mentioned burnout earlier as well. Definitely was feeling burnt out. And, I realized that if I really truly wanted to thrive and not just survive in burnout mode, I had to step out and build something that really honored my own rules and my own voice. And so I founded Professional Women's Meetup, which is a space where women entrepreneurs and professionals can connect and grow and just really truly own their leadership. And, it wasn't easy at first because it's such a huge transition from corporate straight into entrepreneurship. So, there was all of this self-doubt, fear of failure. But I knew that helping women claim their confidence and visibility, it's not just like a nice to have. It's not just nice to have. It's really essential. And so that fire to empower others to step into their full power, that's really what keeps me going every day.
All right. Well, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And, we all have to have that, that mission, that passion for what we're doing. And I think that really leads us into the topic of today's discussion. And what are some practical steps to grow your business, without burnout? I'd love to have you share with us how you approach this.
Absolutely. Great question. I always say the magic is in simple, but really intentional steps. So here's how I'll break it down for you into 3 parts. So first, you need clarity. You need to get crystal clear on who you're serving and what transformation you provide. And we're talking about entrepreneurship and business here, right? So without that clarity, you're shooting in the dark. And when you're speaking to everyone, you're really not speaking to anybody at all, right?
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
so secondly, it's confidence. And, without the belief in yourself, no one else will buy into, what it is that you're offering. And so I use mindset coaching tools and community to support and help women get through those mindset blocks like imposter syndrome. And that allows them to fully step into leadership roles with authenticity. And I'm really big on authenticity and vulnerability these days, especially with all this AI stuff going around. It's really, really, that's how you truly stand out. And that brings me to my third point, which is consistent visibility. And this is really the game changer, whether it's a live video, networking, or sharing content. I teach women how to show up as themselves and not just this like polished, perfect version. And for me in corporate world and then going into entrepreneurship, I really struggled with that. Definitely. I still today, sometimes I just have to like let go just a little bit. I don't have to be perfect. And I feel like that, stops a lot of women from maybe doing a live video. And what I like to say is authenticity is what builds that trust and opens doors. So if you mess up, it's actually not a bad thing. People will appreciate that.
No, it just shows that you're a human being. You're an actual human being who's doing this.
Yes.
So I think and perfectionism is way overrated. And so it's better to go ahead and do something and learn from that so that you can do it again. So that's brilliant. Now, with those 3 pieces, those 3 steps, it sounds like you may have a process that you walk people through or help them to prevent burnout.
Yeah. So the process is really just manageable because I focus on these small, really doable actions. And that really does create big impact. And so I find, let's get rid of that overwhelm. Sometimes like we were talking about burnout earlier, like let's address those things and just create real steps that actually builds momentum.
Right. And that's one of the key things is doing those small pieces. So, I mean, an analogy for me is, let's say everybody in their life has probably moved at least once. And sometimes it can feel like it's like overwhelming, everything that you have to pack up. But, and even if you then scale it down to like a single room, well, then you scale it down to a single bookcase, so now you can start to work on this one area. And then the next time you look, it's like, okay, well, that's done. The next day, and as you keep going on, pretty soon it's like, wow, the whole room's packed up. Okay, great. And so breaking it down into those small actionable steps, and everyone can associate with that, it really helps prevent that feeling of like, it's just like, there's so much. And I always recommend so I do this little statement I do every day, which is, there are so many things I get to do today. Not how much I have to get done, or wow, there's so many. It's like, there are so many things I get to do today.
Yes.
And exactly. So by changing that, it really it's a positive statement. It's an empowering statement. And it's something I catch myself doing all the time. I did it this morning. It's just like, there are so many things I get to do today.
Yes.
So it's a great place. So, when we're talking about this,
I do. And there was something too, when you introduce yourself, instead of saying, I help What's that other word that you like to use?
I always recommend you say, who is it that hires you? So for you, it would be, women business owners and entrepreneurs hire me, And so the reason I use that word is that it's really important because it immediately establishes that you are a business owner. You are running a business, and they hire you to get access to what you provide, the services, the products or services that you provide. And once again, that's really about speaking to that confidence, assurance, and that power. Yes. Because if you say I help, it's like, well, are you a volunteer?
Exactly. That was really transformational when you brought that up. I love that. It's a mindset shift.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. It's about standing in your own power. So what are some practical steps to grow your business? Or actually, I don't think that's what I want to ask you right now.
Oh, that's all right. No worries.
So it's about, we're still talking about burnout, but I want to talk about how this is such a challenge for so many business owners, solopreneurs. And it doesn't matter how big a business that you could be running. But I want to talk about why this is such a challenge and what are some, I love the 3 steps, but what are some other practical ways that what people can recognize to get past this?
Absolutely. I love to empower women. I'm really big on women's empowerment. And as women, we wear so many hats. And, I have 2 young kids. They're 6 and 7. And so we're juggling so many different things at once. And so that's a huge challenge in itself, just being a woman and a woman in business. And we are very underrepresented in business. So I love helping women. Actually, let's change that. I hear so many women say things like, I'm not experienced enough. Who would, want to hear what I have to say, or even knowing what to say, because they're worried in their own minds that nobody's really going to be, interested in what it is that they have to say. And really, that is our own inner critic. And it can be really loud and relentless. And I still get it sometimes in my own head. And you just have to be really aware when it does creep in that it's just the negative voices talking, and don't even think about it. Like it's not true. And if you choose to believe it, then, it's going to make you freeze. And then you're going to think, all right, well, I'm going to wait for the right moment. And then even worse, you might not even get started, right? And as a business coach, that's what I love doing, is helping women get started and get to that place where they, don't have to feel like they're perfect, and to finally take action. And one story that really sticks with me is I coached a woman she was a lot of women, actually, not just one, but this one particular woman, she was terrified to go on live video. And, again, she thought she had to be perfect. She had to be polished and professional, and no one would take her seriously. And just after a few sessions, like, she showed up just as she was, didn't, imperfections, even just threw in a few jokes, and within a week, she landed her first high ticket client.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's being originally authentic is so important. And I think when we talk about burnout as a challenge, there are some practical things that you can do. And one of them is to really look at, what is the big picture, right? What truly serves you and your business, and eliminate those things, do you have to be on every social media platform? No. And first of all, there's a 3% engagement. So no, pick something that seems to work, right? But what serves your business, and where do your ideal clients hang out? Where do you need to be putting your energy? And so that's one of the key things that I will look at. And you also have to put up some boundaries so that you do create a space for yourself. And that is such an important piece that I see that entrepreneurs will try to do it all.
Yeah.
And they're trying to be everywhere.
Or speak to everyone.
Right. And so it's exhausting. And so
Yes.
it causes a lot of frustration and stress. So that would be my piece of advice about why it is such a challenge. What about you?
Yeah, well, burnout, I've faced it multiple times in my journey, both in corporate worlds. Well, I felt like I was always burnt out in the corporate world, like I felt like a zombie, but in entrepreneurship, it's a roller coaster ride. You got the highs and the lows, and then, you're your own boss. You can decide, all right, today I'm going to do this, or I'm going to try that. You make your own decisions. It's completely different. And like I said at the beginning, I really wanted to own my own voice and make my own rules. And so, yeah, like I do from time to time face burnout, but I have to really look at what is really important to me in the moment. And when you truly honor those things, like your values, then you can create these boundaries that will honor your values, and then you can, move continue in your business journey, because I mean, burnout will totally take you down, I guess, the rabbit hole. You can go down the rabbit hole really quick. And you just have to, keep your mind, well, you got to be creative, right? But when you're burning out, you don't have any space in your mind to be creative. So yeah.
Well,
and then the multiple hats that we wear as women too, right? Like, I'm a mom, I take care of my 2 young boys, and that was the whole reason I wanted to leave the corporate world, was to, have that balance. Balance is really important. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I'm thinking about is why burnout. When we think about this, why is it a blind spot? Because I often hear about people where they actually get to that point where they're just fried, and they didn't recognize any of the warning signs. They didn't take action earlier. Why, especially for women. And I do agree that there's all the different hats and all the different responsibilities that we have. But what do you see as some of those key things about this blind spot, so that maybe people who are listening can say, oh, okay, I'm not recognizing that I'm going down the rabbit hole?
Yeah, I think it really just comes down to priorities and what's really important. And, I oftentimes hear that time is always like an excuse. But really, when you look deeper, it really is about those, priorities. And if, your business really matters to you, then you make space for it and you get creative. But you can't get creative when you're burnt out. So you got to make sure that, you make the space for it if it's really important to you. And yeah.
All right. Well, and one of those things is that by really giving yourself the gift of making time for yourself, things that matter to you, they can be small things. It can be just sitting out on your deck and, looking at your garden.
Yes.
As you drink your morning coffee, that moment of peace and tranquility.
Yes.
Giving yourself that 5 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is, that's an important piece. Also, obviously we deserve more than just that amount of time, but if you don't take some time for yourself every day, then that is where you start to go down this path. And you have to just say, I am going to stop work now, or stop work, and I'm going to take this time to go out to a playground with my kids, right? Whatever that happens to be.
It's so true. You can create your own schedule, and that goes back to boundaries, right? And what's really important to you. And it's there's no written book on how a person should run their business, and you can do it the way you want. I mean, that is why I started my business, is so that I would have that freedom. And when I do find find myself in that burnout, I then think about, all right, well, I created this. I need to just take a step back. And sometimes it's really hard to take that step back. Sometimes you just like, you get so into it and so consumed, but then you don't want to be like that, because then you don't have the clear mind. You don't have the clarity, which is, like you said, spending time every day, just being out in nature. I sit inside of my house. There's this little part of my house where it's like a sunroom type thing, but I live next to a tree farm. And so I don't have neighbors. So when I look out my window in that little sunroom, that's my meditation. And then I have a cute little dog. So like, I find joy through watching him, go. He has the freedom to go in and out of that patio door, right? Because I keep it open for him. And then he does this cutest thing. He does this sunbathing thing. I don't know if anybody can relate, but he goes on his back with his legs in the air. But lately we've been having a lot of cloudy days, like today is. So I really like the sun and being outside. It's energizing. You need to surround yourself with that. Also, with surrounding yourself with the right people. Like, your network is your net worth. I believe in that too. But back to the, I think it really boils down, especially for women too, self-care, right? That really falls into the self-care category.
Yeah.
And I've also been spending a lot of time on my own self-care and going to the gym almost every day, lifting weights. I just turned 42 this month. And so I know that as women, when we reach the age of 40 and up, you start losing muscle every single year. So it's really important to counteract that with the weights. So I've been doing that. And, we talked about confidence earlier. Confidence in the gym, right? Lifting weights is like, I don't know if I'm doing this right, but like, I'm doing it right. And the more you do it, the more you're going to feel confident. It's taking those small steps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think you're really sort of leaned into my next question, which
Yeah.
I really want to give all the listeners just like one tip that what they could do about preventing burnout. I mean, you just talked about self-care, but if you were going to give people one tip, what would that one tip be?
Yeah. So I think that, let me think about this a little bit more. When I first started out in my entrepreneurship journey, I hired a business coach. I needed that solid foundation, and I wanted to make sure that I had everything, properly set up from the get-go so that it would be a sustainable business, right? And I feel like for a lot of people, like, money is a blocker, right? They don't want to invest in coaching or programs, but the truth is, really investing in yourself is the fastest way to grow your income and your confidence. And you won't burn out either, because that's the thing, like at the beginning that I said, the clarity, you need to get clear on who it is that you're speaking to, and a business coach will help you get really clear on that, as well as, the confidence and strategic visibility, which is the biggest thing that I am so passionate about, is helping women really shine in their expertise as thought leaders. And every one of us has something really amazing to offer, and we get stuck. We get stuck, especially when it comes to doing a live video. And just do it. Like, don't. Why it's so important is nowadays, like, authenticity wins every time. Vulnerability wins every time. And when you do a live video or even going on a podcast, it's transformational, and it's really one of the building blocks for successful business. And you could be doing all the other things, like maybe you're doing the wrong thing. So it's really important that you have clarity.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
I agree. Now,
Mhm.
I think that if I was going to give one piece of advice for preventing burnout, it would be to make time purposely in your schedule for something that you really enjoy, that is gives you a sense of accomplishment or a sense of calm, that just lights you up, so that you have that carved out every day, so that you can, and it can be different activities. Maybe one day it's reading a book, another day it could be, taking a long walk. It could be going to the gym, whatever that thing is that you want to do for yourself that you truly enjoy. And
Yeah,
that would be my one piece of advice.
that's true. That's a really good one. I love it.
Yeah. Now, Christine, is there anything you wish that I'd asked you today, which I have not?
Good question. Let me think about this. No, I think we covered quite a bit today. So really grateful to be here. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Christine, for sharing practical steps to grow your business without burnout, and, really having that community around you for support. I know that our listeners are going to want to know more about you and how they can connect with you.
Mhm. Yes. Best way to connect with me is my website, which is www.prowomenmeet.com. And I invite you to join the Professional Women's Meetup community. We host weekly masterminds, visibility workshops, coaching sessions designed exactly for women who want to break free of doubt and build real sustainable businesses.
All right, that's wonderful. Christine, thank you so much. And thank you to all of our listeners who tuned in today. This has been such a really inviting and informative and discussion. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And once again, Christine, thank you so much. I truly appreciate your joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Lynn. And this is, exactly the kind of conversation that sparks real change. So thank you so much. This is so much fun.
What was your biggest takeaway from this episode? I would love to hear about it. It's important to share the things you love. If you loved this episode, a 5-star review really helps keep the podcast coming to you regularly. Also, if you want to get more sales strategies to grow your business, make sure you subscribe right now. If you want to get results even faster, I invite you to download my sales strategy checklist at petitetoqueen.com/checklist. This has been Lynn Whitbeck, host of Claim Your Career Crown. I'll see you next time.